So, an issue has come into my mind for the first time, and I want to explore the issue in video in real time as it happens, as the thoughts happen. I want to explore them as I go. And the issue that's come into my mind is abortion and abortion rights and how the whole process works and what it means in terms of how it affects the mother and the father. What I'm thinking initially, absolutely first initial thoughts, I've never thought about this before. My first thought is that I'm not sure if we should have a situation in place where the mother is seen as some sort of owner of the child. My initial thought is that the child is an independent entity, and the fact that the mother produces a child does not confer onto her the right to control the life of the child. It seems to me the child is independent, and even though the mother produces the child, I don't believe that means the mother owns the child and can do with the child as she wills. So my first thought is that the child is an independent entity. And also my first thought is, how does the father fit into this? It seems to me the way abortion works now is that the mother can end the life of the child at will, and she has sole right to do that. The father is simply not in the picture at all. He's not regarded as being relevant to the welfare of the child. And that strikes me as perverse and just wrong, basically. I think we have a situation where, because the mother produces the child, we have seemed to have taken the view that that means the mother does essentially own the child and can do as she pleases with the child. The child's welfare is 100% in control of the mother. And that seems wrong, quite fundamentally wrong. And for the father to be left out of consideration of this issue, I just find outrageous, frankly. And as I say, this hadn't occurred to me before, and I'm thinking about this as I go in real time. And so I don't know where my thoughts will take me, and I don't claim to be correct in any way. I'm just thinking as I go, and I don't know how this will go. But as I say, my first thought is that it is not right for the mother to have primacy as regards the welfare of the child, and the father is considered irrelevant, and that because the mother produces the child, then she therefore owns the child. I don't think that's the right way to view child creation. Now, I appreciate to an extent how this must seem to be outrageous of me to say that abortion should not be in the mother's sole control. I think my issue is with abortion anyway, regardless of whether it's the mother or the father or both. I think the issue, my initial thought is that the life of a child should not be taken at will by the parent, be it mother or father. But mothers who we're talking about for now. It doesn't seem right to regard the mother as producer of the child. I don't think that means that she has ownership of the child and control of the child's life. I don't think that's the way we should be living. I don't think that's correct. Obviously, the abortion issue is hugely controversial, enormously important, and it's possibly unwise of me to be thinking in real time about this issue in public. But I've chosen to do this, and we'll see how it goes, and I will live with the consequences. But I suppose the fundamental question is, does the producer of the child have ownership of the child? Can the mother do with the child as she pleases before the child is viable and can support itself? My initial thought is that it is not the way we should do things. It is not correct to view things this way. I realize to an extent how basically crazy this situation is, abortion. But it does seem initially that abortion shouldn't be happening, and it is taking the life of a child. I don't think it is valid to say that the child is not viable yet. It's in the early stages of gestation, and so terminating pregnancy is not killing a living being. It's a pre-being. It's the seed of a possible being, but it's not really a being in existence. I don't think that's the valid way. It seems to me to be a prevarication, I think is the word. It seems to be avoiding the issue and pretending that something isn't true when it seems to be clearly true. It is ending the life of a child by choice, and I don't think that should be happening. So fundamentally, I don't think it should be happening regardless of what I say next. But then the next issue is the fact that the mother is 100% in control of the decision on killing a child, on terminating pregnancy. And the father has no say whatsoever. The father is regarded as being irrelevant. So the question, I suppose, is, does the fact that the mother produces a child, does that confer onto her the right to do with the child as she pleases? My initial thought is that it does not confer that right. It seems to me that regardless of how the child comes into being, the child is still independent. And ending the life of a child just seems quite fundamentally wrong. I can't see how that can be justified. it seems to me as if the mother is viewed as having ownership of the child until the child is independently viable. I don't think that's the way we should be doing things. I don't think it is valid to make a claim that the child is not viable yet, so the mother can do as she chooses. I don't think that is valid, and I don't think we should be living this way. It's not the way to be deciding the life of a child. It doesn't make sense to me to regard it in this way. It seems kind of insane to have a situation where a mother can abort a child, but if the child is born and she then killed the child, it will be regarded as murder. That seems a bit arbitrary, and we're not being honest with ourselves about what's happening. So as I was saying, my initial thought is that abortion shouldn't be happening. It is killing a child. And I don't think it is valid to make the claim that the child is not viable yet, therefore his life doesn't count. The child is not alive yet, so it can be disposed of at will. I don't think that is valid. I see that I haven't justified it any more than saying that this is what I think. I haven't given proper supporting evidence, if you like, but I'm not sure if I could provide any. It's just my initial thought. And so the first issue is that I don't think abortion is right, regardless. But then there's the issue of the fact that only the mother decides on abortion, and the father has no say whatsoever. That's obviously also another huge issue. And I think I've said already that I don't believe the mother should be regarded as the parent who has ownership of the child until the child is born. I don't think the mother of a child owns the child. I think the mother is a vessel and essential for the child. But being essential is not the same as being an owner. So, as I say, initially I think that abortion shouldn't happen in the sense that it is not right to be doing this because it is killing a child. It is ending the life of a child. And it is a pretense to say that the child is not yet viable and so his life doesn't count. I think that that's arbitrary and false to make that claim. So I realize this is a hugely serious issue, and I will be thinking more on it because, as I say, this is an initial thought. But my first thought, as I say, is that abortion shouldn't happen, or if it does happen, we should be honest with ourselves about what exactly is happening. It is killing a child. And it's a pretense to say that the child is not yet viable, so his life doesn't count, and we can do what we want. I don't think that's valid. I think we need to be honest with ourselves about what we're doing. So I don't think abortion should happen. And then there's the issue of the fact that the mother has sole discretion as to the welfare of the child. The father is completely ignored in the issue. I don't think it is right to have this situation in place. It's not the way we should be living. A fact of biology doesn't affect the morality of the issue. So I've covered abortion, I've covered the fact that the mother has sole control and the father is sidelined in the whole issue. So I think I've covered what I wanted to cover, which is that I think abortion should not be happening, and if it does happen, we should be honest about what we are doing. It is ending the life of a child, just as much as if the child was born. And it seems very arbitrary to have a situation where if the child is born and the child is killed, it's considered murder. But if it's killed in an abortion, then the child is considered, well, I don't know how the child is considered in an abortion. It seems as if the child is considered an entity that is owned by the mother. And I just don't think that's the way we should be thinking on the issue. So I do have a lot more thinking to do on this, and I don't know how it will go.